Well, this album was highly anticipated, eh?
True North Reviews, True North Reviews, True North Reviews.
Hey there, welcome to True North Reviews. My name is Ryan, and today we are discussing the Kanye West record, Donda. Donda, Donda, Donda. This is the 10th installment into the Kanye West discography, excluding his collaborative projects, of course, but Kanye is back, first time dropping a new album since 2019's Jesus is King, which marked Kanye's first exploration of gospel and religious themes on an entire record. Make no mistake, Kanye has made music about Jesus before, but one of the hot topics coming into this album, Donda, is the return to secular music, or at least balancing out the gospel themes and instrumentation. Again, similar to Jesus is King, no cursing is on this record here. Kanye is keeping it clean, but that said, he still may have you cursing based on the rollout of this project that teased its release in a way that only Kanye could get away with. Of course, every rollout with Kanye is memorable and hyped to a great deal, but Donda is one to be remembered for its listening parties. At these events, it was pretty clear that while Kanye is a musical genius, he's not doing so well from a mental standpoint. Honestly, it is concerning to see him set himself on fire and engaging with beefs with Drake, but through all the headlines and anticipation, Donda is here. We can rejoice. Now, the first thing that's obvious to be said about this album, but is still necessary to be said, is that it's long, okay? It's longer than Kanye's last 3 albums combined, and thanks to its feature film length of 1 hour and nearly 50 minutes, it will have you taking a journey as much as Kanye went on a journey to write this album. Secondly, this is meant to be somewhat of a personal record. It is important to note that West named this project after his mom, who passed away, but at the same time, Kanye is not letting that hold him back from pushing his musical creativity and innovative boundaries. Starting from the beginning of this 27-track marathon is Donda Chant, easily the song of the year. I'm just kidding, it's actually the first example of filler being on the record. It could have easily been cut from this track list, but I don't dwell on it much either since it's only an intro track at 50-something seconds. The first real song on the album is Jail, and this time it's actually a favorite of mine. I appreciate its skeletal instrumental with a pretty sick chord progression. It's this epic sounding anthemic arena rock that should be amazing to hear live. On Jail, at least part 1, since there are remixes of tracks with different sets of features at the end of the record, but Jail, the first version, Jay-Z is the feature on here, and I love his verse. A lot of quotable bars from him, and it's great to see that Kanye and Jay-Z are back on good terms with one another. Moving on to track 2, God Breathed. This track calls attention to pulsating 808s. Kanye's vocals here sound like they were lifted from Jesus is King, but it's interesting to see him meld that style with the type of singing that he does on Hold My Liquor from Yeezus. That said, God Breathed isn't the most solid song. The expanded outro is long-winded, repetitive, and uneventful. The outro makes me think of a track like Say You Will from 808s and Heartbreak, but it pales in comparison. Thankfully though, the next track, Off the Grid, is a highlight and a banger, a certified banger at that. That percussive hook is great. We off the grid, 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 this for my kid, kid, kid. In addition, the Playboy Cardi and 5EO Foreign features are excellent, the synths are potent, the drill beat is irresistible, and this is a mainstay for Donda. Another one of those perfectly crafted songs on Donda, in my opinion, is Hurricane, which features The Weeknd. He sounds as good as always. Kanye curates and brings together the best artists for his albums. And I think Hurricane is a highlight for Kanye personally, as he has some witty bars about making the best tracks, but still going off the rail. A low light on the record, though, has got to be Praise God. It starts on the scripture reading from the Bible. There is a heavily gospel vocal arrangement. Those elements are fine, but when you mix in a Baby Keem feature that involves his baby voice, that will surely irritate many, so much that Travis Scott's feature gets lost in the shuffle and overshadowed in a bad way. Skipping ahead to OK OK, this one is a more satisfying track that is way more melodic too. Granted, the swear edits on a clean album take me out of the experience a little bit, but that's more than made up for with Lil Yachty's Babe Ruth reference and the bouncy 808s. Basically, alternating between good and bad songs, Junya is one of the worst cuts here in my opinion. Playboi Carti features again seems a little redundant when Off the Grid is the superior track. Not to mention the mix on Junya is horrendous. There's very little in terms of variation in the composition as well, and I get really bored of this track very quickly. And so what? A little repetition never killed anybody, but the texture is what really irritates me. Mixing 808s with organ is just not a good idea. They clash beyond belief. Returning to a stronger track, Believe What I Say is another favorite of mine. Gotta love that Lauryn Hill sample. That slick bass line is groovy and danceable, and this time the chorus is pleasing and meshes well with the bass line. 24 is a good song as well. I have to commend Kanye for the large church organ instrumental. Then that leads to Remote Control that sees Kanye experiment with melisma on the chorus. There is also a haunting whistle throughout the instrumental. Now, Young Thug's feature on the track is tame for his standards, but still okay. Also a nice Easter egg is the Glub Glub sample at the end of the track, which is a hilarious YouTube meme at this point. Skip it if you will, but moving on to the next song, Moon. This is where Don Toliver and Kid Cudi feature over top of guitars that are reminiscent of My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Granted, Moon is more of an interlude than anything else, but I love the vibes it puts off and how beautiful it is. The track Heaven and Hell is also a blast from the not too distant past. The onomatopoeic scatting is similar to the opening track on Kids See Ghosts, and the vocal samples are so good I don't know how you could justify hating this song. On the flip side, Donda is the title track, and it's a lot harder to defend or praise for that matter. The gospel vocals are over the top for my personal liking, just very preachy, and the subject matter doesn't bode well for the track either. It's about hyping up Kanye as this once-in-a-generation talent and the meaning to his mom because of it. I don't get it, but maybe other people will enjoy it more. But skipping ahead in the track list in efforts to save time, Jesus Lord is a highlight and is lyrically a deep moment. It's an 8+ minute odyssey that sees Kanye wearing his heart on his sleeve, sprinkled in with those typical Kanye-isms in the lyrics. An example being reaching for the stars like Buzz Lightyear. Now, despite that out-of-place humor, there is a great amount of grief felt on Jesus Lord, specifically when Kanye speaks of statistics and the black community. So yeah, Kanye can be a little much with his lyricism on this album, but at the same time he can hit the nail on the head with social commentary. Following up Jesus Lord is the cut New Again. The gospel and EDM style track is a brilliant result of blending genre, driven home by the repetitive outro by the Sunday Service Choir. One final low point on this record comes on Tell the Vision. I do believe the tribute to Pop Smoke on the track is handled very poorly and backfires without much purpose for being here. Surely the ascending and descending piano riff is tedious and case in point, but what sticks out to be the most prominent detail is that Tell the Vision feels more like a modern toss-in of what's currently popping in the industry than anything else. A missed opportunity and unnecessary detour, that's for sure. Rebounding from that misstep in my opinion though is the track Lord I Need You, which sure, the singing is pitchy, but to make up for that, Kanye shares some sentimental remarks about his marriage that are must hear. Following up Lord I Need You is Pure Souls. That is a welcome addition to the track list. The featured female vocals remind me of 070 Shake's feature on Yay, the reason being that Kanye loves to include popular and household names on his albums, but also likes to give time to up-and-coming artists as well, and I gotta respect what the man does and is capable capable of doing when it comes to curation. That said, the spotlight truly shines on Kanye, and Kanye alone, on the masterpiece that is the song Come to Life. Through pretty twinkles of piano that are off kilter and polyrhythmic, Kanye blows my mind on this track. Experimenting with counter melodies, soaring high up above with his singing, there is a lot to appreciate about this track that is so majestic, so larger than life. I can't really do it justice describing it. And that takes us through the album for the most part. Like I said, there are some part twos or remixes, depending on how you view them, that end this album, but I don't want to spend too much time discussing them. If I had to choose a favorite out of the four, it would be Jail Part 2 because of DaBaby's verse, which is straight fire, but would I say his feature tops Jay-Z's on the original? I'm not so sure. At the end of the day though, Donda is a journey to get through. Don't expect to love it on your first listen. It's gonna take 3 or 4 times before you can pick out some favorite songs, but to save you guys some time, some effort, I've put my favorite tracks down below in the description if you want to check those out. As for final thoughts on the record, it's very erratic stylistically, it's very off the walls, its performances are zany and eccentric. There is some filler, which is to be expected on rap albums nowadays, as they tend to be running over an hour anyways, but despite that, I can forgive it. I can see this epic, spacious odyssey for Kanye. It's definitely a project that stands out on its own, but is also a blend of Kanye's newer albums like T-Lop, Jesus is King, and to a smaller extent, Kids See Ghosts. Donda is certainly larger than life. The narrative and themes of God and religion only become stronger throughout its runtime, and with all that said, if you haven't been listening to Kanye for a while, this is a detailed snapshot of his life over the past few years. I'm feeling a 7 out of 10 and a decent recommendation. If you're a Kanye fan, it's always a must. But there you have it. There's the album review for today. Make sure you guys sound off down below in the comments. Tell me what you guys think of this music, whether you agree or disagree. I'm here to engage with you guys. If you'd like to leave a like, subscribe if you're new in town, I'd appreciate that as always. Thanks for watching and have a rockin' day.